What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Avax. But before we get started, if you're not a member of the free Discord, please click the link in the description box below and get started with the free Discord. And without further ado, we'll get straight into today's video. All right, so we're going to start off here with Avax on the 15-day candlesticks. And you guys, the first thing I want to point out is this falling wedge pattern. This is a very, very bullish pattern and one that I've seen a lot in crypto when I've made a lot of money playing this pattern, and often happens before a reversal. Now, that can be a bigger picture reversal that leads to the beginning of a bull market and the completion of a cycle, like we see here on Avax. It can also be just a bounce off from those lows and not the actual bottom. But in the case of Avax, I do think that this will be the bottom, the local bottom for Avax before we push up through this local resistance level at about $63. So we do have a complete market cycle. You can see that we have our first sell-off right here. Then we get our parabolic run up. People get too euphoric up here. And then, of course, we go into the depression phase and everything down here with the big crash that always comes after a big euphoric run. Now, after that crash, you can see that the market did recover with a lot of volume and a lot of confidence. And in fact, this is a mini version of the bigger cycle. So you can see we have a big cycle right here, and then we have a little mini cycle, and it's the same structure, it's just a smaller version. The only difference being that we're probably going to bottom out right here versus, going a little bit lower here. So you can see the similarities between these two cycles are very pronounced and very profound. Now, what we want to talk a little bit about here is the similarities between Avax and other market cycles I've seen historically. One good example of this is Chainlink over here on the right. Back in 2018 and 2019, Chainlink was being heavily accumulated by big players. A lot of people didn't know what was about to happen. They weren't aware of the pump that was going to happen in the market, and only the big players were buying it. But really, Chainlink did the exact same thing that we see here with Avax. You can see the first sell-off, the parabolic run up, the correction that came afterwards, the echo cycle, retesting support, and breaking out into a new all-time high. So the market structure is identical between these two charts, or very, very similar. Obviously, there's subtle differences if you're zoomed in or looking at the microscopic differences, but overall, they're very, very similar. Now, the other thing I want to show you here as well with Avax is the similarity between Avax and the NASDAQ. Back in the day, if you guys don't know, the NASDAQ did a complete market cycle. We often call this the internet bubble cycle because that's what it was. This was the internet bubble right here in the early 90s. You can see the price of the NASDAQ rallied really high. It went all the way up to about $5,000 per share. Then it came all the way back down to about $1,100 per share and bounced up again and came back down near support and had a little echo cycle just like that first cycle right here. Now you can see that the recovery that came after was very, very pronounced and powerful. So we did get a complete and total recovery in this market after it completed its cycle. So get ready for a big move coming in Avax, just in the same way that the NASDAQ had a big move here after it did its cycle in the internet bubble. We're also getting ready for a very similar thing to happen here with Avax. So the cycle we're about to have is going to be massive here with Avax. I believe we're going to break right up through the old all-time high, push up with a lot of confidence, and really take off here in the bigger picture. Now, to try to convince people to buy the internet bubble after it popped, like to try to convince people to buy the NASDAQ here in 2003 or to buy the NASDAQ here in 2008, it would have been pretty dang hard to convince people that the market was going to recover. Why? Because of human psychology. Humans get fearful, and when the markets pull back, they think it's going to keep happening. The human mind already has a tendency, it's already easier for the human mind to think negatively than to think positively. That's why it's so important as people to cultivate good thoughts, because your mind is like a garden. So you want to be choosing very carefully what you're thinking. So because of that natural human tendency to think negatively, to look at things in a negative light, this also happens in markets. After a big correction, they always think it's going to get worse, right at the bottom. And that's the case here with the internet bubble. You can see that in 2003 and in 2008, people would have been very, very fearful that the markets were going to go lower. But what did it do? It completely recovered and skyrocketed up to new all-time highs. And we can see the same psychology over here on Avax today that happened already on the internet back in the day. So this is an example of how human emotion repeats in all time frames, how it's self-consistent across all time frames, and those fractals repeat over and over again. So yeah, get ready for a big breakout on Avax. We're watching for a breakout of this falling wedge pattern. I think we're going to get a very, very bullish breakout here of this falling wedge that will push us up through this local resistance and eventually push us up through the old all-time high. And I think it's going to be very, very vertical. Just like how in the same way that after 2008 here, after we had a correction in 2008, which actually correlates perfectly with this correction over here on Avax. And I'm calling a bottom right now on Bitcoin. I personally think the bottom's in. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I'm also calling a bottom here on Avax because I expect a very, very strong, a local bottom right here at $23. Because I expect a very, very strong recovery. Just like what happened after the internet bubble popped, it recovered. You know, people always just focus on the bubble pop and they never talk about the fact that afterwards the internet recovered and was mass adopted after that. That's exactly what crypto is getting ready to do. Crypto is getting ready to go into that mass adoption phase, especially here in the big picture. In the short term, I think this could be a local bottom. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and call one. We'll see what happens. But in the bigger picture, man, this is definitely headed into mass adoption. So the only people that are going to lose are the people that sell. The people that are going to lose money are the people that sell in the dip before mass adoption takes place, which is it's starting right now. We have everything ready for mass adoption. So I'm really excited for what's coming in crypto. And yeah, you might not be able to see it yet, but start learning these charts, start learning a little bit about how markets work, and have faith. Every good thing that's ever been done in history was done because of faith. So if you want to make money in these markets, you got to have faith that it's going to work out in your favor. And buy the dip. Buy while it's undervalued. In the big picture, we are very, very undervalued. Super undervalued. So get ready for big things. Now let's talk about Bitcoin a little bit, because Bitcoin is getting ready for some really, really big things. And a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people don't even know what's coming in Bitcoin. So let's remove all the drawing tools here. So in the big picture, we have a huge cup and handle here. So if you go to Google Images and just type in cup and handle, you're going to find an example of a cup and handle pattern here on Google Images. There's a lot of examples here. This is a very powerful trading pattern. And this is exactly what happened to gold before gold skyrocketed. So we could actually show you that here in a second, but let's focus on drawing this cup and handle. So we have our handle right here, and we have our cup over here. You can see this big cup right here. If we take the arc tool, it's really easy to draw with the arc tool. See this huge cup right here, and then we have our handle right here. So that's a bullish pattern. That's a very, very bullish pattern. The cup and handle, it's a bullish continuation pattern. And as we watch Bitcoin here, watch for it to break right up through the $63,000 level and really start to take off here and focus on the big picture. Don't get chopped up in the smaller time frame. I know a lot of people, they see like a 3% red candle on the smaller time frames, and they start panic selling. So don't focus on that, right? Focus on the bigger picture, because in the bigger picture, we're really getting ready to take off here and skyrocket on Bitcoin. And by the way, this is exactly what happened to gold. It's exactly what happened to gold. There's no difference between gold and Bitcoin in their market structure. And it's really no surprise because Bitcoin trades like a commodities market. People call Bitcoin digital gold. So to see the same structure here on Bitcoin that we've already seen on gold is no surprise. A lot of people are missing this. A lot of people don't realize what's about to happen to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about to go to 90,000. First it'll go to 70, then it'll go to 90, then it'll go to 100K and beyond. But a lot of people are scared. They're panic selling in the bull flag, in the handle of the bull flag, because this is also a bull flag. You can see we have a bullish flag right here that coincides with our cup and handle pattern. So a lot of people are selling at the bottom of this bull flag and into the handle. They're panic selling their crypto into the handle because they're fearful that a big correction could happen again. But they don't know that the bull market just started, and they don't realize that Bitcoin is getting ready to break out to new all-time highs and blow people away. So don't panic sell. Don't be fearful. Don't follow all the people that have no idea what they're doing, because there's a lot of them. Bitcoin is getting ready to blow people away. Watch as Bitcoin breaks out of the handle and breaks out of that bull flag and takes off, just like exactly what happened to gold right here. Be ready for that. The only way you can be ready for that is to have money in the markets, buying your favorite altcoins, buying your favorite coins in general. And yeah, Bitcoin does look a little weaker on the smaller time frame right now, only over the past couple days, because I think this is a local bottom. There's bullish divergence here, and I'm going to call a local bottom here on Bitcoin right now, here publicly. There's bullish divergence. I think this is the local bottom for Bitcoin. So it's only weak in the short term. And, it's no surprise we pumped for quite a while here off this bottom, off this low at 50K. We went all the way back up to 64, so a healthy pullback is totally okay, totally cool. Don't panic sell. I'm calling a local bottom here on Bitcoin. And by the way, Bitcoin dominance, if you don't know, Bitcoin dominance is dropping off. So of course Bitcoin looks a little weak in the short term. Now, what I personally think is going to happen is I think this is going to be the top of Bitcoin dominance. So we have a rising wedge pattern here on Bitcoin dominance. You can see this huge rising wedge on Bitcoin dominance. And so I think this is going to be the top of Bitcoin dominance, and we're going to start altcoin season right now. Now, with that being said, Bitcoin is still going to increase in value during this period, but a lot of people don't realize that altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. In every bull market, Bitcoin increases in value significantly, but altcoins outperform Bitcoin. That's exactly what's about to happen. We're getting ready to go out of this phase where Bitcoin always leads at the beginning of the bull market and go into the phase where altcoins are in full force and really breaking out. And you can also see we have downward trending resistance here on Bitcoin dominance. And support and resistance is a zone too. I see people say, oh, look, this trend line failed, or oh, look, we're breaking above or below a certain level. You guys, support and resistance is a zone. Okay, don't get it twisted. Support and resistance is a zone. You have to give the market a little bit of room at support and resistance levels to reject. Okay, so we're at major all-time resistance here on Bitcoin dominance, and I really think we're getting ready to break down here on Bitcoin dominance as a result of that rising wedge. You can even see weakness on the smaller time frame. You can see that Bitcoin is starting to show a little signs of weakness here. So over the next week, watch for a rejection in Bitcoin dominance. And by the way, we do have bearish divergence as well. So that bearish divergence is a very strong sell signal here for Bitcoin dominance. So that's my view on Avax. I personally think we're going to break out and go to a new all-time high as we recover from that market cycle. as it follows the same type of patterns we've seen with the internet stocks. And by the way, crypto is a very, very good thing to compare to the internet stocks because it's basically the same thing happening right now, just in 2024, as what happened to the internet, where the internet went into mass adoption. That's what crypto is getting ready to do, is go into mass adoption. So we have this rising wedge pattern here, and I think we're going to break down here on Bitcoin, and altcoins are going to skyrocket, which is going to fuel Avax to really take off and break its old all-time high. And Bitcoin will increase in value as well, but Bitcoin dominance will go down. So right now I'm calling it a bottom on Bitcoin. I'm calling a bottom on Avax, and I think we're going to take off in the whole market. So don't be one of those panic sellers. All right. If you guys want to learn how to do this stuff, apply for the mastermind program below, and I'll hop on a call with you, talk a little bit about what the program offers, about what you're going to learn in the program, and how you can start. Basically, if you have a little trading knowledge or none at all, we can take you to understanding all the things that the professionals understand, and you'll see that transformation in your life to really be able to play these markets and start making money on a regular basis. I made a lot of money in crypto. Over the summer, I made money when people were panic selling, when the markets were dropping. Why? Because I knew they were going to drop. I shorted Pepe at the exact top and made a lot of money. And so if you want to learn how to make money consistently in these markets as well, apply for the mastermind program below. Thank you for tuning in. That's my update on Bitcoin and Avax. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. I love and appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and share it with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. As always, stay profitable out there.